to the offense and the quarterbacks after the Cal game?
I think when you look back at that game and really go into it, we got to execute better. And I think that was the main point is there were so many plays that lose you a football game in that game. And that's the main message for me down. We got to do a better job of all 11 executing and executing at a really high level because one person's flaw and non-execution on a play can destroy the whole play. So we all 11 got to play together and execute the play that's called and be better.
Greg talked about how having a bye week until pull off preparation for Rutgers to get over it. How long did it take you to get over it?
It took a few days. I mean, I think I got over it, and then it kind of just comes back to you because you have so much time to think. But no, it was pretty challenging to get over that loss, especially when you look back at it and keep watching it a few times and think what you could have done better as an individual. And there was so much football we left out there to that could have helped us win that game. But no, I'd say it took a little bit. It was hard to swallow that pill, but I think it was the best thing for our football team. I think it's going to help us down the line.
Was there any crossover between your time back in Fayetteville and when Rob Smith was there? Did you get to know him at all?
Yeah, I did. I actually grew up playing with his son in football. We were on the same fifth grade team, fourth grade team. We were solid friends. Rob's a great guy, a great defense coordinator, and I think it's really cool. I get to, because I remember growing up and seeing him and knowing he's our Arkansas defense coordinator, and now I get to, play against him. So I think that's a really, really cool opportunity.
What are the challenging aspects of his Rutgers defense?
Yeah, they do a lot of different things. They're very multiple. Their guys play super, super hard. I mean, Coach Fleck talks about it. Our program and their program are very similar in the way they play, the way they, think about the ball. The ball's our program, the ball's their program. So I think it's going to come down to who obsesses over the ball more. And I think that's how it comes down to every game. But, they do a lot of stuff on defense, and he does a really good job.
Drake, do you sense this Lemecki, his football career, has had injuries, he's had a ways to turn. I mean, do you sense that from him, his time is right now, I guess, let's say?
Yeah, when I first came in, Mekhi was people thought Mekhi was a really good player, and he's been a really good player for a long time. But yeah, I do sense that. He's taken a huge step in his leadership with D-Jack and Spence leaving last year. He had to make the room what he wanted it to be, and that room's developed a lot in terms of leadership, how the room goes. And I think Lemecki's done a really, really good job, and he's really taken his game to the next level. So I think he's going to keep doing a good job of that and keep making plays. I think it's really good because after bad plays, he always, walks in the huddle. He's like, "Hey, we're good, boys, we're good," with a huge smile on his face. And I think when you kind of see that, he's always smiling, no matter good, bad. He's always going to smile. And I think when you see that as a quarterback and as our team looks at that in the huddle, it's always a little uplifting for guys because no matter what, you got to smile through all the adversity. You got to keep your head up and keep rolling.
Your team's always driving to get up explosive plays.
Yeah.
How close do you think you are in hitting them out?
Yeah, I think we're really close. Especially, when you look back at the film, even against Cal, I think we had, 10 explosive plays or 8 explosive plays or something like that. And that's a lot in a game. And then when you really look at it, I think we could have had 5 more when it comes down to execution and details. And if you get those plays and you can really execute and get the fine details, we can have a lot more of those. So I think it just comes down to us and the players' execution.
Back to Lemecki for a second. You and he had a good connection.
Yeah.
I know probably the play that's called is whatever the read is the receiver that gets it, but sometimes is there a connection where you will seek out a guy on a given night if the matchup's right or a guy has a bigger night? How does that come about?
I think it all just happens how the game is going. Because throughout the game, things can change based off if they're giving us new looks. We could, flip what's going into the game plan. We could think something's going to happen and they do something different, so we have to adjust on the fly. And I think Mekhi was just making plays from the get-go. So if a guy's making plays from the get-go, you got to give him the ball. And I think Mekhi just stood out from the get-go. He's making big plays on third down. And I think that's another thing. When you're making plays on third down, that's your money down. That's when you got to go make plays. So I think Lemecki was doing that from the start. And he was executing at a really, really high level versus man coverage. And I think that's when you got to use somebody.
The quarterback's relationship with your left tackle is one of the unique ones
Yeah.
in football. You came in with Nathan Roy. He's also starting for the first time like you. What's that connection been like between the two of you?
Yeah, Roy's an awesome guy. I don't think people really understand how Nathan is. He's a really quiet guy. He's really to himself. But he loves to have fun, and he loves the game of football. It's funny because his dad, the first game his dad was talking to my dad, he was like, there's 2 things he'll protect. It's like his little sister, and he'll protect your boy. He'll protect your boy at quarterback. And, you can kind of see that in the game because he's really chill and calm. And then once he gets in the game, he's an absolute dog. And he plays his butt off, and he's done a really, really good job. And I'm not surprised at all because he always told me, he's like, when I get in there, trust me. He's like, I got you. So, I mean, we're great friends, and he's done an awesome job, growing and, changing his best.
Drake, I know you're obviously focused on your season, but this last Sunday watching Max Brosworth
Yeah.
play in an NFL regular season game, did you exchange any messages with him or anything after?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was lifting, and then I got told he played, and I was like, oh. So I watched the highlights, and he did a good job. He's always been super calm and executing the play that's called. But, no, I texted him after and just told him, his younger self would be so proud of him, just giving you that, that just little self. I don't know what the word is, but just when you think about your younger self, how proud he would be of you now. That's kind of what I texted Max, and he just said, appreciate you, dog. And now he's going off to, I think, London or something, so wherever they're going. Yeah.
You're pretty tight with Coy. How do you feel he responded after having a tough game with special teams there?
Yeah, he's responded a lot. I think he really swallowed the pill in what he needs to get better at, and he's done a great job. He had a great last week of practice with Minnesota versus Minnesota. He played at extremely high level, and then this week he's had a great job, done a great job, changing his best. So he's really responded.
Danny said that he had a pick in practice. Is that off of you or scout or something else?
Did he tell you that? When did he tell you that? Today. Oh, today? He must have had a pick today. He didn't pick me off. He has picked me off before. He's picked me off twice since I've been here, I think. So, but not. I think it was in spring ball. Not recently.
Anything else for Drake? You're not the first one to use the swallow the pill analogy today amongst the players. Is that something that PJ's talked about here during the bye week, or where's that come from?
Yeah, it's kind of echoed from the top down always, but I'll say I always kind of took that analogy because my high school coach would always tell me that, like, we got to swallow the pill and, but take what we learned and really get better, because I think you always learn from the losses. I think I've changed my mindset ever since that loss on how I need to be as a quarterback and how I need to be as the leader of this team, because it's not always going to be ups, and I hadn't lost in a while, and that's kind of one thing that stuck with me is, like, how can I be better for the team? And 5 days after, you keep reflecting, and I think, I've thought about what we need to do to win games, and the coaches are going to put us in the best position. So, yeah, that's where I kind of got that from.
All set. Thanks, Drake.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Yep.
I think we responded really, really well. We swallowed the pill against Cal. We did what we looked at the film, and then we adjusted what we did wrong. Improved on things that we can improve on, and I thought we responded greatly.
When you look at the defensive takeaways, you guys got one as a defense in the last 5 games against FBS competition. So the faucet's going to turn back on. What needs to happen?
Just obsess over the ball. This week, one of our main priorities on defense is obsess versus obsess. We got to obsess over the ball. So, in practice, if it's just one more punch out, the running back's running down the field, running down the field, just that extra little step to punch that ball out, that matters to us. So, again, just being really intentional with making sure that we get the ball.
Ethan Kellogg Bass throws down the field a lot.
Yeah.
How important is it for you guys to get to him before you can do that?
Oh, super important. He's a really good quarterback. He played here once, and I'm excited to play against him. It's fun. We keep in touch usually, so it's fun to play against him. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's important. Like any other game, it's important to get home to the quarterback.
How have you seen him improve over the years?
I think, watching him and just playing with, he has so much poise while he's playing football. He's just obviously I think this is his 5th year now. So, again, year by year, you gain knowledge, and you just build on the years before. So, I think he's a great player. So I'm excited to play against him. Yeah.
How do you guys stay in touch?
Whether that's birthday, a birthday, him saying happy birthday, or him it's her birthday saying happy birthday. Keeping it cordial. Again, he played here once, and we all hang out, we all hung out together. So it's we keep in touch.
Where did you need to volunteer at the Annunciation School 2 weeks ago? What was that experience?
It was really good. It was an unimaginable thing that happened. It's bigger than football. Me and the whole football team, we live in a fake world where we play football. So, again, being able to come to the community and bring joy to that community it was really special for me and my teammates, and we really enjoyed that.
How does your guys' approach change, or does it just going into Big Ten play the rest of the way?
It's a one game championship. So we approach every single week like it's that one game championship. So nothing really changed. We obsess over more things than like others maybe, but like again, our goal is to win football games. Our goal is to have a one game championship and be 1-0.
What do you take away from the game at Rutgers last year that you can use moving forward? To this future?
Eliminate shots. That's one thing, the biggest important thing. We got to eliminate explosive plays. And, again, just getting home to the quarterback as a defensive line, I got to do a better job of rushing. So, again, and also obsessing over the ball. So that's all that we plan to do.
How much of a point of emphasis is getting your hands up in the passing lane against an on-field offense?
Super big. Like every single week is really big to get our hands up. Bad down balls, that's the same. That's a really good. That's like a TFL. That's like any other play that's disrupting the quarterback, and it keeps a little ticker in the quarterback's mind when you bat down a ball a few times. So, again, I think it is really important this week. Yeah.
Anything else for Anthony? All right, thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, guys.
In Berkeley about your career day and obviously in the context of the loss. Now that you're separated from it, how do you look back on what you were able to do that count?
I just felt like I had to do what I had to do to get the team to win. I mean, I had to do exactly what the coaches want me to do to execute, and I feel like I did that at a high level. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get the win, the outcome that we want, but I just feel like that's in the past now. So if we're moving on to Rutgers, it's put that game behind me. I got to move on and be better.
What were the points of emphasis from Coach Simon into the receiver room during the bye week?
I was just being able to attack and play fast. Like we played a little bit slow in the cow in the beginning of the game. We attacked the ball like we should have. We can be aggressive in a releasing game, and we could be way more aggressive in the run game as well. And also the key points was we got to be on our execution and fundamentals and details of every play.
Now that there's been some time since your broken leg, how do you look back on how it goes?
Hey, it's been a long. We still talk about it to this day, just because it's crazy. Because I broke my leg in middle of the season, 5th game of the season, and I was ruled out for the whole year. The next thing you know, I'm coming back for a Wisconsin game. So it was just like, who knows what happened. So it's a funny moment that we talk about now, but I look at it as a growth moment for me. Ever since then, I've been taking real care of my body. I feel like I've been doing that pretty well since that whole injury.
I mean, I talk about a big injury and you smile. Where does your joy come from?
Just about me handling all the adversity that I've been through, all the injuries I had, just been able to respond and just still go out and be the same player as I was, or even better before I even got hurt. You know what I mean? It's just having that mentality of it is what it is. Football happens. I'm going to just keep on rolling.
What's your impression of Rutgers' defense?
Oh, very, very talented defense. We know they're going to be aggressive. We know how the defensive coordinator loves them. We already know we're going to have a tough opponent to go against. We're going to have a lot of times on our hands, especially on the offensive side. And I like to give credit to their offense as well. We know they got 8th in that quarterback, and they got Soroka, their offensive coordinator. They got great receivers, great O-line. We got to be on our A game no matter what.
If the contested catches for the receiving core are going to get back to where they were last year, what's got to change?
We just got to be able to just be able to handle the pressure that's been put on us as the receivers and the quarterback as well. We just know we're not always going to be open, and that's one thing he always iterates because we say every ball is an elite ball no matter what. So we always got to have that advantage that the ball is ours no matter where it's at in the air. Go plug it out of the air no matter who's on us, no matter what.
Anything else for Lemecki?
Your cousin, Zadarius, what was the connection with him and playing football and having somebody in the family do it before you?
Who that again?
Your cousin Zay, or Z?
Oh, you talking about Zai?
Yeah, Zai.
Oh, Zai? Oh, yeah. It's an honor. 'Cause me and him played together growing up, and it was always those two guys. But fortunately, his career is not at the career he wants to be now. But he's a great influence in my life as well. He helps me push the best I can be, just because I know he knows that he didn't make it as far as he wanted, but he knows that I have the potential and to keep on living the legacy of our family.
All set with Lemecki? All right.
Thank y'all.
Coach Collins and Mariano coming out of the Cal game and Rutgers.
Yeah, the big thing, just going back through the film the day after the game, a few days after the game, bye week and all that stuff, just looking at what we did well and what we need to improve on. Big thing for us was just making sure our details are there, our crazy communication, never letting our how slip, which, you put the film on, and that's what makes us who we are is our effort, how we play, our havoc style of defense. So just responding, falling back on that, looking at each play and saying, was it havoc? Did we play with how? Were we attacking? Were we violent? where we won and where we're competing. So just kind of going throughout that process and then taking that into the bye week and, focusing on certain things we wanted to focus on and get better at. So it was great response, and, just looking forward to keep preparing for this week.
Coy had a tough day on the special teams on Cal. How do you feel he's responded? What have you seen from him this week?
His response has been great. We all have his back. And just as a special teams unit, we're all out there for each other. We're going to take care of each other. But yeah, his response has been awesome. And, I have more confidence in him than anybody. I love being his teammate. Love seeing how he responds. Just love seeing how he's been competing like he always has. So, just super proud of him as always. Just excited to keep working.
Rutgers special teams has already blocked 3 kicks. What makes them so dangerous?
Yeah, I think one thing they do really well is they're very detailed in their fundamentals. They do all the little things right, and I think that's kind of a credit to their whole program and how Coach Giano run things over there. They're very detailed. They play really hard. They play fast. They play violent. So they do a great job on all phases. So it's a very good unit over there, very good team. So we're just got to keep preparing throughout this week.
As a seventh-year guy, is this do you kind of cherishing things as they come through here this last time?
Yeah, I always feel like I've been a kind of guy who's very you take every moment as it is super important, so and that's one thing I kind of pride myself on, and I've been lucky to have coaches and guys around me who have always said you never take playing the game for granted, which I know myself having two surgeries in the past few years and being injured and stuff, you kind of gain that perspective of it doesn't matter if it was my first year or my last year, you're not going to take for granted being out on the field and being with the guys. But yeah, definitely, just soaking in those moments with the guys. That's the biggest thing, just loving practice, loving being at the stadium with the guys, being at the hotel and all the little stuff. So
You've had a big role leadership-wise off the field over the past few years. Is coaching in your future?
Yeah, hopefully. Whenever I decide I'm done playing, because I want to play till the wheels fall off. But yeah, I know that's definitely something I'm going to want to do when I'm done playing.
The competitor in you, do you think about last year's Rutgers game, and does that impact anything about this week in terms of wanting to get the win?
I think the biggest thing, you just look back at last year's game is, it's just another chance to look at that data that came through last year's game, right? You go back, you look, okay, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? What did they do well? And everything in between. But that's last year. This is a new team. They're a new team. It's a new season. So you really just take that data from last year and apply it to this year, and then give yourself the best chance preparation-wise throughout the week. That's the biggest part of last year's game is you just look at the things that, like I said, we did well, we didn't do well. How can we clean that up and then put that into this year's game plan?
Anything else for Derik? All right, thanks, Derik.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.